It takes the guise of a small baby, or maybe an infant. It depends on, you hear that? I hear something. I hear a baby crying. Okay guys, now are you guys ready? First of all, this is a spot right here. It's kind of dark tonight. I don't see any moon. Just see a couple stars. That's it. Should be around 7 o'clock. Here in the jungle right now. 40 years ago. Let's think of what it was. It was moonlit. Kind of breezy. I think it was during the time of December. We were doing night exercises, right? These are night movements. This is part of a military exercise training. We're wearing fatigues, lousy uniform, and M203s. Now M203s, we had like real old weapons, but we didn't have any rounds. Our training then was for just night movements. We had to traverse a 2 or 3 hour trail and then get to our goal. And then if it so happened that we were caught, somebody would call, or I would call, because I was a lead scout back then, PRP, Panthers Rallying Point. I know some of you guys out there that experience know about this. The PRP, man. PRP! Anyway, right? Into the exercise, we started an hour crawling, stooping, making movements. Nobody was talking, we're just doing our exercise. The squad leader was commanding us, okay, take this turn, take this out. So by this time, we're all tired already, right? Sweating. We traversed our second creek, or maybe bigger than a creek, maybe a small river. There was this open area, and this open area was almost towards our goal, maybe, I want to say maybe half a kilometer. That was it. After that, we were done. All we had to do was be really quiet, make our movements, the correct movements, as in, stooping, crawling, or snake crawl, or, I can't remember. But we were either doing a stooping, walking movement. So when you walk on leaves, it's kind of different, right? Because you got to be really quiet. Use your toe, dig in a little bit, move forward, then the heel hits the ground, and then your boot is level, and then you just turn the leaves to the right or to the left, depending on what foot it is. That way there's minimum noise. I mean, we were really disciplined doing this, because if we got caught by our cadres, I'd be trouble. I mean, that'd be all night being treated like a POW. And so we were really, really quiet. Now, snake crawl also we did, meaning that hold your rifle on the right hand and then use your left hand to pull your body forward. And that's the best movement that we were using, and that was painful. I mean, abs pain galore. Now, last stretch, as I said, it was a small clearing, and as I said, it was a clearing right there. Right there. Let me just point right there. I should take shots of it during the daytime, but it was just right there. Suddenly, something really loud, something was running across the ground. I mean, remember it was moonlit, right? So leaves were flying, debris was flying on my left side. I mean, it was big commotion. First thing that comes to my mind has to be a wild boar. I had experiences with wild boar in the jungle. But no, this was a lot louder. Because wild boar usually make a commotion go through leaves, and then starts digging with its snout or tusk, trying to look for grub, and then find something, and then move around a little bit, and then run again. That's the way it sounds. But this was different. This was direct noise and commotion from the left side. I mean, this is something like from the cartoon, from the Tasmanian DVIL. I mean, it was just crazy. I said, it can't be a cadre, it can't be a person, it can't be a wild boar. So it has to be something else. Now, what comes to mind was, I don't know, really. Can't be a snake, can't be a monitor lizard, can't be a wild boar. But there was just commotion. It kept on going on. Like, whoosh, 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 right? Something I saw on my left side, maybe 3 or 4 yards away, which is really close. Moonlit and everything, you can make it. You can see it. Just stopped in mid-stride, right in front of me. I mean, by this time, it was closer than 3 or 4 yards. I want to say maybe 2.5. It was that close. Something just stopped in mid-stride. Suddenly, it was quiet. It just stood there, like this. I mean, it was crazy. It was just like this. It has its back turned to me. I could see it. It's behind, and it was something small, smaller than a child. It was smaller than an infant, maybe 1.5 feet tall. That was it. 1.5 feet. Yeah. It had its back turned to me. It swooshed. I can remember that sound because after all that commotion, it was sudden quiet. And then it was a sudden swooshing sound. Swooshed. Had its back turned to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Every movement that it made was a real loud swooshing sound. And that was crazy. I mean, there was this small, almost infant-sized thing in front of me, and it was making these swooshing movements every time it turned left or right. This was something from the Matrix. It had to be. It was something crazy. It stopped right there. Moonlit night. The color was black. I mean, the background of all our surrounding was black. But this was blacker than black. I mean, darker than black. You can see a small infant superimposed on the black background. There was no missing it. I mean, you could see it even though it was black and black and black on top of black and black itself. It was darker than dark. It was black. You could see all the movements. Nothing. During this time when it was moving, I told you all about the swooshing sound, right? It started changing hue. Lighter, lighter. It was like a negative digitizing color. It started becoming grayish until it was non-shiny silver. It looked to the right. It never looked at us. It looked to the right, looked up, and I could see it right there. That image is just burned in my mind. I mean, it was small, grayish thing, smaller than the infant, looking up into the air, frozen. I swear that the only movement it did was its neck. Its head moved, looked up, because it stopped in mid-movement during the swooshing. It was like this. Right hand up, left hand going low. And it's just swished, looked up, stopped right there. I could still see it. And then it just, commotion started again. When it was looking right, it just moved straight right, straight out, gone. You can hear all the commotion, the volume lowering down as it went further and further, still running, still debris all over the place, still hear the leaves until you can hear it no longer. By this time, The four last people ran to the left, and I just ran right behind them. Turned out to be the tail scout towards the end of the exercise. We actually reached our goal. We didn't have to call PRP. Actually, we were supposed to call PRP during that emergency, but we just actually shifted movement towards the left side and continued our night movements towards the goal. And I feel real lucky because this thing is known to lead people astray, bite people. Some say entrap and kidnap people, victims, but not us. Maybe because we were so quiet during our night movements. That's why it never saw us. I don't know if it did see us, but it didn't look at us. And I guess we were just lucky. Now, about 10 years ago, I met up with our old 7-man team. And I asked them, hey, you guys remember that night? Me, the second man, the contact man, the third man, the squad leader, yep, confirmed it. They said, yeah, man, we saw it. And I told them the story, and it was as I described. But the other four, they didn't have any idea what I was talking about. They just said they heard the commotion, and then they just ran. Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes you gotta admit, fear. You know, there's no sense hiding it. I mean, I don't know, looking back, I didn't feel any fear. I think I was so into the exercise and so into what I was watching and actually didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't have time to be afraid. But if I did have time to be afraid, I don't know how I would react. Thinking about it, I didn't feel any fear. Even right now, I was contemplating coming back to this place. Maybe if we show up, you never know, right? I wasn't fearful of coming here. I was really more excited because I'd be able to tell my story. I mean, verified by 2 others on what happened. And I think that's enough for me. Be careful. Be prepared. And, well, basically, if you hear a shriek, a woman shrieking, I mean, I just call the police. Not unless I witness, actually see it. See something in distress, then I wouldn't have a choice. I would go for the rescue. But if you hear something out there, don't trust that it is what you think it is. Because there's a lot of stuff out there that we think we know about, but we don't know jack. Hey, I did say X marks the spot, right? I mean, this is the exact spot. Just down there, over there, It's that exact spot. Now, I feel that it is still here, and it will always be here. I mean, let me explain, or let me explain my theory. Now, I'm sorry. Now, if it was in a different dimension, like people say, right? These are beings from other dimensions, blah, 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 right? And we are in our dimension. Now, if these two dimensions would maybe overlap in this X marks the spot area, right? So basically, it would always be here because this is the overlap area. I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I did hear some sounds earlier. I did hear a clicking sound. Maybe I'll isolate that and try to show it at the end. If I find it, if I hear it, right? Well, I think they're always here. They will always be here. These Tiyanaks are known to prey upon its victims, right? Sometimes they're caught watching the victim, meaning that they do have intent, because when they observe or watch the victim, they have been known to attack, or maybe the person would think it was a toddler or an infant in distress and try to bring it home. But in our case, I don't think it knew. I don't think it was aware that we were there right behind it. But I do think about the show, the swooshing, remember? The movements towards the left and the right, left and right. Was that a show for us? Or maybe that's how it just really acts in the jungle, running around, basically stampeding, making a big commotion. And then that's how it finds its new route. It actually stops, swishes around, looks up, and then when it looked up, it went towards that direction. I think that it didn't even know we were there. So we think about these elementals being more powerful than us, better senses, maybe even up to the point that it knows ahead of time what we will do. But in that case, I don't think it knew. And I think that is a weakness that we've discovered. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. I got 4 or 5 clips here, and these are the ones that I promised that supposedly had some unexplained sounds on them. Clicking, something that was like moving in the leaves, and something walking around me, but unfortunately I don't have a program or the capability to isolate these sounds because I don't have a program. Maybe in the future, infant. Depends on, you hear that? Well, I think they're always here. They will always be here. This wasn't my life. It would always be here because this is victims, right? Sometimes they're caught. Tiyanaks are known to prey upon its victims, right? But for now, debunked. Hey, thanks everybody. See you again next time.